So we're living in some pretty interesting times right now. There's a lot of criticism on education and educators and the challenges of what we're doing and why we're doing it and what's good practice, what's not good practice, and everybody has their input into it. But at the same time, we're also in a time where being a Christian is no longer part of the culture. You know, it used to be part of the culture that everybody went to church Sunday, whether they were Christians or not. They went to church Sunday. Things were shut down Sunday. Things were shut down Wednesday nights. We're not necessarily in that culture anymore. In fact, we might be sometimes as a Christian part of the counterculture. And I look at where we're at today, and sometimes it's very difficult to understand why God allows this or why God has put this in place. And I'm reminded a little bit when I'm reading the story of the resurrection of Christ. Again, I'm still in the book of John, and I was reading about when John and Peter went to John doesn't call it John. John calls it the disciple Jesus loved. And it's interesting that he refers to himself as the one he loves. And in the story where John and Peter are head to the burial grounds, the garden, in the tomb, John runs up ahead, and John even talked about how the one that Jesus loved was first to the tomb, and then Peter came along. So apparently he was faster than John. But having said this, they're both at the tomb, and they both see these strips of burial cloth, and the burial cloth folded up, the tombstone rolled away, and Jesus not there. And they don't understand. In fact, it says they don't comprehend. They don't get it. This is the disciples who spent at least 3 or if not more years with Jesus, walking closely with him, seeing the miracles he performed. And Jesus, even in his last days, was talking about this very moment. But yet they didn't understand. You know, it's easy to point a finger at the disciples and say, man, you did not get it. You were clueless. But I actually have to step back and think, I probably would have been very similar to where they're at. I miss a lot of things that are going on out there. I just don't quite understand. Some of the most obvious things I have to look back on and go, oh, that makes sense now. It's not a bad thing necessarily. We understand that our minds are so small that we're not seeing the big picture like Jesus is seeing. We're not getting all the information like God is getting. In fact, we're told that wisdom of man is but foolishness to God. So even in our brightest days, it's such a small piece. And so for us not to understand, it shouldn't be disturbing to us. It shouldn't hurt us. In fact, there ought to be, okay, that's all right. God's got it. And to let him take it. And to relax and sit back and go, okay, God, use me. I'm not sure what you want. Because what Jesus is calling for is obedience. He's not calling for understanding. He's calling for obedience. We may not completely understand why he's called us to do something, but we do it obediently. So, in the world we live in today, the direction's headed, who knows what may happen. But we don't have to worry about it. Just be obedient, and he'll take care of us.